Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Christina.
And I'm Nicole. On our podcast, we delve into the roots of metaphysical wisdom.
That's right, Nicole. Our podcast is all about exploring those fundamental truths and practices that nourish your mind, body, and spirit.
Yes, Christina, we want to make metaphysical concepts easy to understand and accessible, especially for those who don't have a ton of time to do all the research.
Right? We'll do the research as well as share our experiences and perspectives, hoping to empower you, our listener, to find balance and magic in your day-to-day.
Inspired by the essence of the word radical, proceeding from the root, let's explore the roots of well-being and self-healing together.
This is The Radical with Christina and Nicole, two metaphysical girls in the material world.
Hello and welcome to The Radical. I'm Nicole.
And I'm Christina.
On today's episode, we are talking all about the zodiac sign, Capricorn. We don't have the full title just yet. We're playing with our beloved sea goat, but we're also seeing what this conversation brings up.
We'll find the inspiration.
So we'll dive in first with the list. We have some deeper themes to cover, and of course, we will wrap up with messages from the universe.
The dates for Capricorn in the tropical Western calendar is December 22nd, the day after the winter solstice, to 19 January. Sometimes they say 20 January. Within that time frame of those dates, like I said, is December 21st to the 22nd, which is Yule. Yule is on the wheel of the year, is a time of introspection, celebrating the return of the sun after the darkest period, the shortest day, the longest night, shortest day of the year. And that focuses with Capricorn, and we'll talk all about the attributes of Capricorn, on stability and building strong foundations, because it's all about kind of this making it through the winter and moving into the next growing season. So a common Yule rituals, this is where we get all the Christmas lights from, is lighting candles. And one of the traditions is staying up all night and tending a fire throughout the whole night of Yule. And I'm going to tell you this, Nicole, I'm going to do it this year.
That sounds really fun. I want to do it too.
I'm planning on staying up the whole night, and I'm going to do a candle hearth, not an actual fire. So I'll have a set number of candles in an area with my decorations and stuff, and I'm going to stay up the night and then go out and watch the sunrise on December 22nd. That's my plan, listeners. We'll let you know how it goes. We'll be discussing it as we get closer to that season, but I'm being called to celebrate that way this year. December 25th is Modern Christmas. December 30th, New Moon and Capricorn. December 31st to the 1st of January is the new calendar year, which is a very exciting time because it's a new calendar year. We're moving into the year 2025. And then January 13th is the full moon in Cancer, and Cancer is the opposite sign of Capricorn. The energy of Capricorn is ambitious. It is the most ambitious and determined earth sign and truly seeks stability. Overcoming difficulties and fulfillment of goals and objectives is a big theme with Capricorn. And then that made me think about the new calendar year with resolutions and with new dedications and with new things that you want to add in or take away from your life at this time of year. Maybe that's why it works really well with Capricorn energy, because that is the Capricorn energy, is working really hard to get the things that you want, to reach your goals.
I wrote this down in my notes too, so we will definitely be circling back to this theme in the second segment. It's a good one.
Yeah. But I'm telling you what, listeners, the more I research, the more I'm finding out that there's really no coincidence in these things. All this stuff just lines up really nicely. The wheel of the year with the zodiac year really lines up nicely. The
Mm-hmm.
ruling planet of Capricorn is Saturn. Saturn, associated with responsibility, discipline, obstacles, but then also overcoming obstacles. Saturn will give you the obstacles and then help you get over them. Saturn was the last planet in classic astrology, representing the outermost boundaries of consciousness. Today, we do have the awareness of Neptune, Uranus, and Pluto, and they have some really great attributes that apply to us as a human race, expanding our horizons and understandings of the planets. The exalt of Capricorn energy is Mars, the fall is Jupiter, and the detriment is the moon. Capricorn is an earth element for stability, grounding, and confidence. We get that when we ground down into our earth. The quality is cardinal. And cardinal signs are said to be active, self-motivated, and leaders in the community. What makes cardinal signs interesting, it helps me remember them now, moving forward, is they're called cardinal or scout signs because they generate the seasons. Aries is fire, spring equinox. Cancer is water, summer solstice. Libra is air, fall equinox. And Capricorn is earth, winter solstice. 4 cardinal signs, 4 cardinal elements. There are also mutable and fixed, which we've talked about, but this is a way that really clicked with me in remembering and recognizing the cardinal signs. The polarity of Capricorn energy is negative and yin. And in Western astrology, negative polarity signs are the even number signs. Even number zodiac signs are associated with intuition, passive, yin, and receptive attributes. And that's what the negative polarity means. The chakra for our Capricorn energy is the root chakra, which absolutely makes sense as being close to the earth, stability, security, and grounding, and that Muladhara root chakra. It's associated with Saturday because that is Saturn's day. It's a day for reflection, responsibility, and it doesn't always seem that it's a day for reflection and responsibility being Saturday. Usually that's everybody's big day for doing activities that they want to do because it's not a work day. So doesn't that really seem like your hobbies and your passions and your interests would be associated with Saturday? But also sometimes more serious aspects. But it's a good day to plan, set goals, and engage in activities that require discipline and patience and passion, I would say. The number 8, which is Saturn's number, is associated with Capricorn. An 8 can represent balance between the materialistic and the spiritual worlds. It's the symbol of eternity. The infinity symbol is 8. In numerology, 8 is the number of karmic justice, which totally, right? Which totally matches Saturn in my mind, where actions come back to you in equal measure. A little scary, but that's lessons, right? That's wisdom.
Yeah. That's karma.
And in Pythagorean numerology, Pythagoras had his own numerology. The number 8 represents victory, prosperity, and overcoming. And I want to do a podcast on Pythagoras. Do you know that this Greek philosopher or scientist or mathematician had the first ideas of reincarnation? He came up with some, well, let's say this. A lot of things that he brought into Western civilization, he learned from other civilizations. He was just our, sponsor for bringing information from Egypt and Babylon and areas across the Mediterranean into Western culture. He's a fascinating character. Mathematical orbits of the planets. Like I said, reincarnation, and also vegetarianism. Now, This is a fun story. And like I said, we could do a whole, I'm going to put it on the list. We'll do a whole podcast on this. But when when I say English, England scholars were translating the work from the original text into English, there was a slight misinterpretation saying that Pythagoras was a vegetarian, and that cannot be actually substantiated. There is that he had a lot of dietary um, rules, and vegetarian might not have been one of them. But in England, they translated it as full vegetarianism, but they didn't have that word until 1850. So you were called a Pythagorean if you didn't eat meat. Have you ever heard that?
No, I love that though.
Yeah. So fascinating character. I want to do more on this character in our history. Okay, back to Capricorn. Body parts: knees, skeleton, teeth, skin.
Yeah, and I saw the joints also.
Oh, okay. Well, that makes sense. Knees.
Yeah,
And I
totally.
truly think about these as like structural elements of the body that give us stability. Bones give us shape and protection, our skin. And the teeth is like, that's like an elemental element in the body. So it made sense to me that that would be the earthiest things that relate to Capricorn.
In Qigong and in traditional Chinese medicine, it is believed that the elbow and the knee joints are deep wells of qi.
Really?
So our life force energy is really heavily concentrated in these joints. And so a lot of Qigong movements, it's kind of pumping our elbows and our knees. So these kind of slight bends, and it's designed to help pump chi through our body.
Oh my gosh, I didn't know that. The colors of Capricorn: dark green, gray, brown, and black, which when you look out the window in the northern hemisphere at this time of year, those are probably the colors that you're going to see. And the colors that are associated with Yule, same thing. The dark evergreen, the color of the wood for your Yule fire, and the color of your candles. The metal associated with Capricorn is lead, which is Saturn's metal. Because of Saturn's reputation as the slowest planet and its perceived heaviness, Saturn is also associated with the color gray, which is similar to lead. And lead is one of the first and oldest of the 7 metals in alchemy. The alchemy glyph for lead coincides with the glyph for the planet Saturn. But lead is also a symbol of alchemy and transformation, representing the process of changing common elements into valuable ones. So that's lead's theme. The symbol of Capricorn is our beloved sea goat. In Babylonian astrology, Capricorn was called Sahur Masku, which means the crested goatfish. Scholars have connected the roots of this image to earlier constellations, the stag and the fish, as representations of the sun emerging from the waters after the darkness of midwinter. I didn't go all the way down the rabbit hole of this imagery and of this mythology, but it's out there. More ancient than Greek mythology, the Babylonian mythology, and the other mythologies of that time frame. There is a goat or a ram or an antelope or a stag, some hooved animal with horns, and a fish body that has to do with the beginnings of life, coming out of the ocean, and then associated with the rising of the sun after the longest day of the longest night of the year. The water representing the darkness, and then the fish in the water representing the darkness, and the horned animal above it representing the light. So much is out there, listeners. I caught myself following links on this, and then I stopped. And I said, we're just going to keep it with what it represents. This imagery speaks to Capricorn's bifurcated abilities. Capricornian energy, skilled at navigating both the material and the emotional realms, the sun and the moon, the light or the air and the water. That is Capricorn energy. And if you associate it with midwinter and the emergence of the sun out of the sea, that's where the sea goat comes from.
I just love the sea goat.
And the glyph, which is that if you have a smartphone, it's that purple square. And this is a very difficult one for me to draw because I didn't understand what it meant. And basically just look at the left side first, and you see there's like a V. That could be, you know how Aries has the ram? The V with the little curls? That is the goat. It's the V with the horns pointing straight up. And then the fish is that half eternity symbol. That's what Capricorn is. It's the goat and the fish. Now when I look at it, it totally makes sense. Yeah. But when I was first drawing it, I'm like, I don't understand what that loop is. Is this an N? Where's the other piece of this? But it is the goat and the fish. Yeah. And you can look that up. There's a couple different variations. One has the goat head. They will call it the footprint of the goat. Or you could look at it as the head and the horns of the goat. But essentially that's what it is. And the loop is the fish. The constellation Capricornus is one of the 88 modern constellations, but was also one of the 48 constellations listed by Ptolemy. So it's not one of the oldest ones. It's like medium to modern.
Medium to modern.
I mean, the Babylonians recognized it, but it wasn't what we have today, is what I meant. You know what I mean to say. And then Capricornus is also known as the sea goat, a zodiac constellation in the southern sky that depicts that mythical creature of half goat, half fish. The horned goat, or the great horn, is what Capricornus means in Latin. And do you know that's tied to the cornucopia?
I wondered, honestly.
Because cornucopia means horn of plenty, which is associated with all of the harvest festivals that are happening previous to here in the Wheel of the Year. But that cornucopia became the symbol of the harvest festivals. And every now and then you'll see some cornucopia imagery tied to the feast seasons at Yule. You might see it. And that is the basket of plenty, or the cone-shaped basket with all the beautiful seasonal vegetables and everything coming out of it. But yeah, and that is tied to one of the horns from Capricorn. And Capricornus has over 60 stars, including Alpha Capricorni, Gamma Capricornii, and Zeta Capricornii. Maybe that's why I'm saying the R so much, because I was reading all of these. So fascinating stuff about our beloved sea goat.
Yes. I loved learning about the imagery.
When you get a moment and you Google that mythology related to it from the Babylonian times and even before then, there is some really interesting story. It was like when we were researching Sedna, and I just kept digging more and more and that's how it was with the sea goat. There's a lot of old, beautiful imagery and mythology tied to Capricornus and Capricorn. It's good stuff.
Wow.
The 10th house. Career, public image, social status, and legacy and leadership style.
I saw it phrased the house of enterprise and our public reputation.
I don't know if I'm going to surprise you with this or not, but the sign on the cusp of your 10th house can indicate the type of work you're suited for and where you'll be successful.
I did know that.
Did you?
Yes.
I didn't know that.
This is your MC.
Mine is in Aquarius.
Okay,
Do you know what yours is?
Yes.
What is yours?
Leo.
Get out of here.
But I was really excited to tell you something that I learned. And thinking back to our birth chart episode, I think it was that episode, we realized we had no placements in common.
Yeah.
Well, this is kind of a stretch, but I'm trying to make it work.
What?
Did you know, just like how the North Node and the South Node are opposites, 180-degree opposites, your MC, which is this midheaven point, and your IC are opposites as well? So you are Aquarius, and I'm your opposite. I'm Leo.
I'm just looking at my birth chart right here.
Like I said, that was a bit of a stretch, but
oh my gosh.
Was like, at least we have a connection.
I like it. I'll take it. I knew
so the MC is medium Coley, and IC is Imum Coley. IMUM-IC. So these 2 points are always opposite each other in the zodiac. The IC represents your roots, your family, and your inner world. And the MC is like your public persona, the work that you do, what you're best suited to do, like how you'll be successful in the public realm. And so when you start looking at your MC and your IC, it shows you how your public and private lives interact.
My MC is in Aquarius, right on the cusp of the 10th house. And I knew there was some Aquarius in there somewhere for me. But it says that I should work in social work, science and engineering, venture administration, personal trainer or life coach, and astrologer.
That's pretty cool.
I had to add that in there because I was like, wait a minute. Yeah, Aquarius.
You're kind of doing it.
A whole nother aspect of my birth chart I learned today while we were researching this and discussing this, because listeners, I did most of my work on this podcast this morning.
It's just that time of year.
Yes, it is. Yes, it is.
My MC is in Leo, so anything expressive, creative, but also visible. So this is going to be like performing arts, being an author, a speaker. I saw something, this made me laugh. Content creator, literally typed that in my notes with a big LOL next to it. I think one also said like a model, an educator, a politician. So something where you are able to express yourself, showcase your creativity, but also a high degree of visibility is usually associated with an MC in Leo.
I love learning more about this stuff. Okay, virtues. Capricornian energy is consistent, ambitious, honest, loyal, confident, trustworthy, realistic, tenacious, persistent, strong decision making, and having an instinct for business.
They're very self-reliant. They are the sign of self-mastery. And I love this word, composed. Composure is a really cool attribute to have.
Yes. Because that's where we create change, in that space between stimulus and response. That to me is composure.
Yes.
Okay, flaws. Capricornian energy can be expressed when it's deficient or excessive as selfish, cold, dissatisfied, melancholic, proud, inflexible, shy, apathetic, controlling, obsessive, and materialistic, and pessimistic. And pessimism doesn't always mean bad. It just means that you're always looking at this side of the problem and not the other side.
Yeah.
You get stuck. All right, tarot cards. The devil card could be a misinterpreted card. It could be a difficult card. You could have a lot of resistance to the card. Let's talk about some of the ways that this card and the understanding of this card has changed for me as I've learned more. So generally, control, restriction, bondage, the shadow self, the chains that enslave you, confusion. And what we need to do is understand how fear and ego operate in order to not be controlled by them. And then this phrase, in one leap, you can be free. That's the devil card. Ask yourself when you get this card, how can I step into who I truly am?
Yeah, this card's a big one. It deals with sabotage and addictions as well. It could be asking us to take a look at how we cope with difficulty and if our coping mechanisms are toxic or unhealthy. I've done a lot of things out of fear, and that's been sort of my unhealthy coping mechanisms. And so I love what Christina said, in one leap you can be free. So what am I ignoring? What am I not willing to look at? And what behaviors or actions do I take when I'm uncomfortable or fearful? Like, what do I reach for? I came across the idea that it's the dark side. It's tied to the Lover's card, but it's the dark side of that card instead of the light side.
The thing with the devil card is when I see it, and I'm just tying this now to Capricorn, is the work. When you get this card, you got to put your work boots on and you have to get to work. You have to do something now. Like when you get the tower, it's almost like it's already done. Like the tower is telling you it's done. That pattern is, there's no going back. But the devil card is like, okay, get to work. Come on, get to work.
Right. Yes. And you're exactly right. I think that's why I felt resistance to that card.
Yes.
Like, what do I have to do? What do you want from me?
Exactly.
That was my reaction. I have to do something. And it's something hard.
Yes.
And challenging. Yes. And we'll get into this theme a little bit more, but I have to do something every day. It's not a one and done. It's continual, ongoing effort.
Yes, that's the devil card.
But the reverse is that freedom. Freedom from unhealthy, toxic, or destructive people, places, things, patterns, programs.
And that question, how can I step into who I truly am? What do you need to do that? Right? So it's a big card. It's a big card. And when you get it, you should look at it as the universe is, you're really in tune to the universe because it's time. It's time for you to do it. It's time for you to do that thing that you know you need to do.
It's an opportunity.
Yes, it's opportunity. It's an opportunity for growth through doing some painful work or letting go of something. So yeah, devil card, big message. The three cards in the minor arcana tied to Capricorn are the Two of Pentacles, which is Jupiter in Capricorn, which can mean evolution and growth, balance, division, decisions, how energy never disappears, it transforms. And you can ask yourself, how can I lighten up? The Three of Pentacles is Mars in Capricorn, which is collaboration, teamwork, show your talent. And the life we build around ourselves reflects our inner temple. And honor the works that want to be born from your hands. That's the Three of Pentacles. Ask yourself, how can I collaborate kindly? Four of Pentacles, Sun in Capricorn, sustainability, possessiveness, holding on too tightly to resources, and know when to change systems and habits. Stability and growth are yours. Don't let them become a prison. A good card. When you get that card again, you have to do something. So ask yourself, what am I grasping at? That's my list. That's the list, Nicole. Lots of tangents on that one, but like I said, it was all fresh in my mind because I just did it a couple hours ago.
And I wrote down some Capricorn themes, and we've talked about some of them, but that's okay. A big one is grounding. That was the first one I wrote down. And we're recording this the day before Thanksgiving.
Yes. Yes, we both had busy weeks, lots of things moving for both of us. So I'm really happy to see you and chat with you too. I think that energy is also today's podcast is like we're like excited to do this.
Yes. With that cardinal earth energy from Capricorn, it's really I think important for the time of year that we're moving into. You know, we need to stay grounded and centered because it is a chaotic time of year. Travel, people coming to you, food to prepare, presents and decorations,
Expectations,
expectations.
societal contracts, all the things that affect us during this time of year. All the things.
Grounding is a really great theme ushered in by Capricorn that will really help us get through and enjoy this time of year. Another one is discernment. I love this word, being discerning. So when I think of discernment, I think of, and this kind of ties into composure a little bit, but discernment to me is knowing where you as an individual stand and you know your values and you know the types of things that you do and the types of things you don't do so that you can easily make decisions. I actually looked the word up, and it basically is our ability to use our personal judgment, our wisdom, things we've learned to perceive and understand with greater clarity, make sound judgments, especially in complex or difficult situations, based on careful thought and understanding. Once you start knowing where you stand, it's really easy to make discerning calls that are in line with your values, the things that will not deplete you, especially this time of year. Discernment can also help you detect deception. So, kind of seeing beyond the surface, having a deeper understanding when it comes to interpreting people and situations or ideas with greater accuracy. So, your intuition, that's an element of discernment as well. And another Capricorn theme, steadfast commitment, diligence, and devotion, committing fully and showing up every day, no matter what, and not rushing. It's going back again to that idea of composure. That word just really makes it click for me. You know, I can easily in my head imagine somebody who is like rushing to the grocery store the day before, Christmas, and they're frantic. And then I imagine somebody who they have their little list and they went to the store a week before, and the night before they're having like cocoa and wearing their slippers because they planned ahead a little bit and they're more composed. I'm like, I want to do that. I want the composure. I don't want the chaos or the frenzy.
Yeah. And I love how you use the word discern there. And in my head, I know the difference between making a decision and discerning whether or not I want to do something, or whether
Yeah.
because the decision, yes, you need to know the details and then you can decide yes or no. Discernment is like, I need to know the details and then I need to know what I feel
Yes.
and want and
Mhm.
require.
Mhm.
That I'm taking into more account what me,
Yes.
where I am, not just, do you want to come to our house for dinner? Like, well, let me think about it. Let me discern whether that's a good idea for me or not. It's
Yes.
and that has to do with planning and composure, because you're
Mhm.
taking your time to discern whether that's a good fit for you.
Yes. Yes, and taking the time to know yourself
Mm-hmm.
also pays those future dividends, so that when you are in a situation where someone's like, it can sometimes feel like you're getting caught off guard. It's like, "Hey, do you wanna come? Like, we're gonna go do this, blah, blah, blah." And you're like, "Oh." And that, historically speaking, is when I say yes too fast.
Yeah.
And discernment is a skill, and it's when Christina was describing that, she kept bringing her hands closer together. And so it's like, you're not only on the one hand have your decision making elements, but then the other piece to that, that you're uniting with, like, okay, I have a decision to make. It's what you want and need, and it's bringing
Yes.
those two elements together. And I love that.
Yeah.
Composure and discernment are
Yes.
our words for this podcast.
Mm-hmm. It's
Maybe we just found
another
our tagline.
Oh, yes. It's another higher level of us knowing ourselves
Mhm.
and not being in chaos. We're in composure. So we're taking our
Yes.
time. I don't know what zodiac sign talks with their hands a lot, but I'm probably that. So I I don't think about it until you said that, and then I'm sitting here thinking about, and it's just, me and Nicole talking to each other over the computer, and then I have to show her my hands, and I'm doing all these things and all these motions.
But I noticed it and I was like, she's communicating. All right, Capricorn deals with our career and our legacy. So I loved the word legacy as
Mm-hmm.
well, because it's not just, what do you do for work? What do you do between the hours of 9 to 5? It's bigger than, quote unquote, just a career. It is what you are leaving behind you, it is the mark that you're making. And I'm going to try to say this next theme the way it's in my head. I don't know if it's going to come out
Okay.
the way it's in there. But Christina mentioned understanding Capricorn through the lens of this season that we're in.
Mm-hmm.
And Capricorn stretches from middle of December to middle of January. So it is the time frame of the new year during Capricorn season. And so on one hand, like when I think about it, before New Year's Day, it's kind of like that hustle and bustle, kind of the noise of the holidays. And then we have New Year's Day and sort of that first couple weeks into January, when everyone's talking about their resolutions,
Yeah.
the gyms are extra busy.
Mm-hmm.
You might be waking up early, having your green smoothie, you're trying to implement new and better ways of living your life
Yeah.
and making these resolutions. So, with Capricorn, and I wish I could read just this whole page from this book, but it's described really beautifully as the Capricorn ability to hear our own voice. And it's our inner voice, it's our intuition, and how we really need the quietness of solitude to hear ourselves, because it's not just like listening to ourselves, it's eliminating the distractions that can maybe mask our own truth and our own inner knowing. And in my notes, I wrote down next to that, eliminating distractions. Like, this is actually a very, very big conversation.
Mm-hmm.
And I'll just give a couple examples real quickly, but I unsubscribe from pretty much any marketing email. I am very limited on how much screen time I allow myself on things like Instagram. So, eliminating distractions brings us into a certain type of quietness in which we can really hear our own voice. That's on one hand. And to me, that's like the December part of Capricorn. Yeah. It's kind of tied into Yule and the longest, darkest night of the year. Mm-hmm. And then on the other hand, then we have January Capricorn, who's like, let's go to the gym. It's that steadfast commitment, diligence, and devotion. And I will tell you that if I'm presented with like an excuse, I'm probably going to take it. It is so easy for me to just not hold myself accountable. It is so easy. But I love this. This is an area where I can improve, is like my January Capricorn energy, that like other side of the coin. When it comes to taking action and having that no excuses, no matter what, it's slightly inconvenient for you, you made a commitment though. And the word devotion is really powerful too. I am making this devotion to myself to have these better habits, but then I actually have to do them if I want the benefits. So anyway, that's going to be, I think, one of my resolutions, is to be more Capricorn. And committing fully, showing up every day, no matter what. Don't let things distract you or derail you. You know from your inner quietness, your truth, and what you need to do. And then it's a matter of doing it.
Did we do a podcast on habits like months ago about how many days to do it? Right?
Yeah, when we did the routines.
Yes. To look at that again as we're coming into that season, to remind ourselves that it seems like a big task, and to think about doing it every day for 19 days is like, that's impossible. And then there you are, day 19, and then it becomes possible. Right?
It's really good for building that self-trust and that self-confidence that you can do it. Okay, Capricorn, in my birth chart.
Let's hear it. What you got?
I have 2 placements. I have both Mars and Neptune in Capricorn.
Really? Those planets are so dissimilar.
I know. That was my first thought. So Mars is all about action, aggression, and our drive. And Neptune is all about dreams, spirituality, illusions, and the disillusion of boundaries. This is, like what Christina said, seems pretty different.
I think, like, isn't Mars about boundaries? I know the Emperor is, and he's tied to Mars.
I think so. There's definitely, and with Saturn being involved here with Capricorn, that link, there's definite structure, boundaries with Mars and Capricorn, which is an exalted placement. This is about feeling security and validation when you have material or financial gain. There's a lot of yang energy here with work hard, get the payoff, you've achieved. It's an external validation system. Whereas what I'm trying to embrace is living more in touch with my yin energies. So there's a little bit of a conflict to me here, because I have to be very cautious not to let my self-worth get tied up in achieving and accomplishing and doing.
And Capricorn is a yin sign. Even though it is very much a show up and do the work every day sign.
Mm-hmm.
So that's a huge balance there. The
Yeah,
fish
that's
and the
true.
goat. It's the
Yeah.
fish and the goat. You have to,
Wow.
how about
I wasn't
that?
even intending to
Yeah.
fit that theme. With
Yeah.
Neptune in Capricorn, this is sort of bringing structure to spirituality. It's this desire to blend the spiritual realm and give it a living, breathing structure and form in your life. It also deals with self discipline, self restraint, and moderation.
How about that?
Yeah.
Well, I have Capricorn is in my 8th house. There's no planets there. But Capricorn in the 8th house in a birth chart, and I looked this up because I had to find out for myself, is a willingness to take initiative in close relationships and trust the merging of loved ones. And then the 8th house is associated themes such as finances, psychology, and intimate unions. And then to add that Capricornian attitude to that, I was like, does that mean I have a very practical uh attitude about deep connections and maybe a little bit pessimistic?
Mm.
Because I can tend to be emotionally closed off. But that was just a little glance into Capricorn in the 8th house.
All right, it is time for messages from the universe, and I am using the Wild Unknown Pocket Animal Spirit deck by Kim Krantz.
I love that deck.
I was going to do 3 cards today, but a 4th one leapt out of the deck.
Oh,
So
okay.
we are doing 3 cards with a bonus, and I think the bonus is for everyone. So you can select cards 1, 2, or 3.
Okay.
And the first one is Snake, guardian of unawakened magic and creative potential. The snake is a symbol of our highest potential. It is said that Shakti, our creative life force, lies dormant at the base of our spine in the form of a coiled snake. Regardless of whether this image rings true for you, it's well worth considering the amount of unawakened or untapped potential within. What would life look like if you woke it up? How can you stir it from slumber? An experienced yoga or meditation teacher can lead the way. Make haste. The snake card appears when there is no more time to waste.
Uh-oh.
When in balance, kind of sounds like the devil card
Right?
a little bit. No more time to waste. When in balance, snake is prosperous, creative, and charismatic. When out of balance, snake starts and stops many things. To bring into balance, Kundalini yoga and meditation.
Two of my favorite things.
Our second card is Nightingale, fearless voice, speech, communication, or song. The song of the nightingale is otherworldly. This simple brown bird, almost unnoticeable among the flashy plumage of other birds, transports its listener to the realm of poetry. Nightingale energy is with us when we write, compose, and especially when we sing. It reminds us that music heals the deepest wounds. This card indicates a need to open the bridge between the heart and the voice. Is there something you need to say? How long has it been since you sang? Turn it up, write it down, and let it out. When in balance, Nightingale sings, speaks freely with kindness. When out of balance, it is shy, lump in the throat. To bring into balance, music. Our third card is Bat. Darkness, letting go, death leading to rebirth. Before emerging, the bat waits for the sun to set and the moon to rise. In the darkness, it can see all that was invisible in the daylight hours. The bat is a master of the subtle senses, of the underlying forces that cause some things to prosper and others to fade. The bat card shows up to signify the ending of a chapter and the closing of a door. The bat comes swiftly, encouraging us to move on. In just a few hours, a new day dawns. No more lingering in the past. When in balance, bat accepts, adapts, and adjusts. When out of balance, refuses to let go, reminisces. To bring into balance, watch the sunrise.
Nice.
And then our card for everyone is the buffalo.
That's very earthy.
Yes. Grounded yet heavenly, practical yet spiritual. The hooves of the mighty buffalo are grounded in the earth, yet its heart and mind rise toward heaven. The buffalo sees challenge, hardship, or a bump in the road as an opportunity for upliftment. Therefore, the buffalo does not fear death, illness, or misfortune. Its gentle eyes look to the road ahead, trusting every turn. May we all experience this elusive yet life-changing bliss from time to time, and may we allow this card to remind us that life is a precious gift. When in balance, buffalo is trusting and pure presence. When out of balance, it is restless and lacks gratitude. To bring into balance, prayer and bhakti. And those were our messages.
Very Capricornian. That buffalo.
Right?
That was so. And my one of my decks, the buffalo is what a lot features heavily in the Pentacles card, which is the Earth suit. So as soon as you said buffalo, I was like, Pentacles, Capricorn.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, that's why it jumped out today.
Yes, yes. So those were our lovely messages. And that concludes this episode on Capricorn, composure and discernment.
We love talking about this stuff with you guys, listeners. We love it.
Thank you so much. And we will talk to you next week. Thank you for listening to this episode of The Radical. The Radical is written and produced by Nicole and Christina.
Listener questions can be emailed to us at theradicalpodnc@gmail.com.
Our Instagram is The Radical Pod.
Music by Van Horton. His Instagram is Van Horton Music.